folks. Welcome to Between Awesome and Disaster. This is your host, Will Carey. Thank you for listening, and I hope you're having a good day wherever you are in this crazy world that we live in. It's about 11 o'clock at night is when I'm recording this on a Friday, August 31st. The reason I'm recording this is because, and if you listen to my Matt Morano episode released earlier this week, thank you very much. I thought that was a really great chat. I'm sharing a little bonus episode with you guys that I've been sitting on for a little while, and I haven't found a way to release it. I thought I was going to pair it with a longer episode because it's a little bit shorter than the kind of episodes you're used to hearing from me, but it's so unique in my development as a podcaster and that I wanted to share it with you guys. On the show today is a gentleman named Koray Tarhan. I met Koray easily, I think it was 2010. So, no, not 2010. Whew, man, that would be a much longer. 2000 and I believe it's 15. So it's been about 3 years when I met him. My girlfriend and I had just started dating. I don't think we'd even been together a year yet. And we were traveling for my birthday. We had just been in Barcelona, Spain, and we were in Istanbul. And I had set up a couple of shows, and she had helped me set up this one show with this improv troupe that had a theater in Istanbul. I can't remember the name of the neighborhood. This was before I had started doing a podcast. And this was before the official launch of Between Awesome and Disaster. And we were in the green room of this theater, and I had my Zoom H4n with me, and I was still kind of very shy and very nervous about trying to get interviews and seeking things out because I hadn't officially started a podcast yet. I was still in that milling about stage. If you've ever taken on a big project, you know that there's a certain level of like, oh, I got to get ready. I want to make sure this is done correctly. And she kind of asked if I could interview him for me. And so I just set up my recorder in the middle of the room, and we kind of had a very nice, relaxed chat. I had with a gentleman I had just met a couple of hours ago. And if you listen to this, I sound very different. I don't quite have a ton of confidence in my voice, so it's a interesting window into who I was at that time when we were recording this. I think if it was 15, I was just turning 29, and I'm 32 now. So it's an interesting look, and it was like, before I had really started traveling internationally extensively. This was, I think, maybe only my third time out of the United States, and this was one of my earliest. This was maybe my second gig outside of the United States of America, and it was a really interesting conversation for me, and it was the beginning of me coming to that realization. If you've been fortunate enough to travel, you'll know that people really aren't that different in different countries. Like, sure, there's different cultures and there are differences, but at a core, humans are pretty much the same, got the same likes and interests, and it's one of those kind of like eye-opening things that was very big for my personal development. So I wanted to share this with you guys because I thought it deserved to be shared, and Koray was very generous and accommodating. And Koray, if you're hearing this, I hope you're doing well, and reach out. I would love to hear from you. So we'll get into that. You may also notice I believe, if you can remember, and I'll listen, we'll go back and we'll go through this together. I think you can hear the call to prayer echoing through the back of this conversation, and we're in a room with a bunch of different people. So I think it'll be fun to go back and listen to this and kind of hear what was going on at the time. Before we get to the interview, real quick, I just want to tell you guys, I just came from the album recording for comedian Greg Stone. Greg Stone, you probably have heard of. He was a writer on Michelle Wolf's Netflix show. And I went to the Creek in the Cave here in Queens, New York to see him record his comedy album. And two very funny comedians, Anthony DeVito and Joe List, opened the show. And I had an absolute blast. It was one of the funniest stand-up sets I've seen. So when Greg Stone's album gets released, it's definitely worth a download. It's worth spending money to support this guy because he's a great dude. He's a nice guy. And I think this album, when he releases it, is going to be great. He's recording 2 shows tonight. I went to the early one, so I'll be interested to see when it's released what I remember from the 8 o'clock show. So keep an eye out for Greg Stone's album. And you can, of course, follow me on Twitter at Comic Will Carey. And if you want to check out my upcoming stand-up dates, or if you want me to come to do stand-up in your city, hit me up either on Twitter or at my website, willcareyisfunny.com. And let's go to my chat with Koray Tarhan. So it should pick up fine, just like that. You can kind of hover around it the most. And could I just get your first name again? I want to make sure I'm pronouncing it correctly.
My name?
Yes.
Koray.
Koray.
Yes.
And are you from Istanbul?
Yeah, I grew up here. I studied in Ankara, but I'm here. Yes, I'm from here.
Where's Ankara?
Ankara is the capital city. I studied theater in Ankara University, and then came back again here.
Oh, great! I studied theater too in Maryland. That's where I'm from. To be an actor. Did you come from a performance background?
Before the theater.
Before theater?
Yes, I also worked in music area. I'm a musician, also an actor.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah, since my childhood, I did both of them.
Oh, great! What do you play?
I play nowadays. The favorite toy of mine is didgeridoo and some electronic devices. But my main instrument is bağlama. It's a Turkish guitar, we say.
Oh, great!
Traditional instrument and some other wind instruments.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah, I started guitar when I was in 10th grade in school in the States. I play bass a little bit too.
Cool.
Were your folks performers, or how did you get the? I'm curious what the spark is that got you interested in doing performance.
Improv.
Improv.
Yeah, in a theater department. At last year, we had a teacher who came from Germany. He made his PhD there on theater pedagogy, and then he showed us the theater sport technique. I loved it. And we found the first Turkish improvisational theater group in Turkey in 2000.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, we are the first pioneers of improv in Turkey.
That's fantastic.
And 2 of us split that group in 2006, and we found with other friends Istanbul Improv, which we would like to do long forms and musicals. And now we are doing it. We have 7 or 8 different formats in improv. We produce our own formats also, and we go usually international festivals in different countries. And it was one of the biggest dreams that we have to make a international improv festival here. So 4 years before we started that. And yeah, we have our own stage here based on improv, and an improv festival.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
It's been 15 years.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, I've been doing this stand up about 8 years, and but before that I was doing music and acting for about 10 years total. So when you sit and think about it all, it's kind of like, wow, this is a lot of time I've been in this. What are some of the What's some of the forms? You said you kind of started with the theater sport technique. What are some of the forms that you've kind of developed? You said
We have a format that we shared in San Francisco, AIN, Applied Improvisation Network Conference. I'm the member of that network that all improvisers from all around the world comes together and shares different techniques. And then in China, it's a once upon a time project. We found that we made it with my psychologist friend together. It's based on actually Joseph Campbell's and Jung's story structure.
right.
It makes the audience the writer of a well-structured musical play. We have steps, character, and then aim or dream, and then feeling, and then obstacles, and then helper, character, and then help, advice, and the feeling, and the main action, and the story ends. 5 minutes, 5 minutes acting or singing, and then just a couple of minutes asking questions based on pictures or different kind of things. You can see some paintings there.
Okay.
We make an interdisciplinary show with a painter. Painter paints some pictures, and then we ask questions on these pictures to the audience. Who is she or he? Blah 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 blah. Actors plays her or his interpretation. And then other things we have another show for two person, another actor from our group, just freestyle improvisation and long form, two parts, 45 minutes and 45 minutes, and we get crazy. Just go.
You just kind of go off of your suggestion and then just kind of.
And then we have another short form musical format. Nihala Tamasha. It includes traditional entertainment formats, theater formats or performance formats that we adapted to improv theater, based on music or storytelling or physical acting and different kind of things. It's the main performance and the first performance of our group. We perform it for 8 years now. And then we have another sort of theater sport format that we have the employee of the week. We have 12 actors, and we maybe you heard it, Maestro or Master of the Show. Yeah, it's a competition, and we find the best improviser of the week, and we have some other formats based on long form.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah, who would you say is like do you have any like personal comedy heroes or improvisers that you really go back to as like your main guys? Because like I have stand-ups that I go back to over and over again, like Mitch Hedberg or like Stephen Wright or Richard Pryor. Do you have guys like that you're like, wow, that I learned a lot from that person?
Yeah, I have some heroes in Turkish theater. Tarhan Şensoy. He writes his own script, and he makes a sort of stand-up one-man show.
Okay.
And we have Cem Yılmaz also. He's perfect. But internationally, Monty Python.
Monty Python.
Yeah, Monty Python. And the 70s comedy actors that come from improvised theater, like Belushi's, John Belushi's.
Oh yeah, Belushi's amazing.
Yeah, Bill Murray, and all the Second City. And I have never seen his performance. Also, he's dead, but Del Close.
It
gives inspiration to me always.
Oh yeah,
his
absolutely.
books and interweaves.
And for long form, he's sort of like
he's the inventor.
Like he's the inventor of the long form, the Herald.
Herald.
Yeah, that's sort of the school of a lot of the theaters in New York.
In Chicago, he has Improv Olympics.
Yes.
And I've been there.
Oh, you've been to the Improv Olympics?
Yeah, in Chicago Improv Festival we joined in 2010.
Oh, great.
So we went second city, IO, and different stages.
Mm-hmm. That's fantastic. So it's a you're kind of drawing from what sounds like a lot of international influences, and then also kind of bringing
Yes.
your own forms to it.
Yes.
That's really cool. What's sort of the tone of an audience in Istanbul? Because I've done shows kind of all over the states, and on the East Coast you have to be kind of very very quick and very sort of to the punch because they're a little more combative, whereas on the West Coast, like in San Francisco, you can just kind of go anywhere. What are some of is there like a general tone to an improv audience in Istanbul?
Yeah. Actually, we are trying to create a culture of improv that not just jokes, but funny stories.
Mm-hmm.
We try to make it, and our audience is something like this. But comparing to another improv groups in Istanbul or in Turkey,
Mm-hmm.
because we are the first pioneers, and there was a TV show our ex group did, and there was a little bit, people loves fast jokes all the time,
Right.
but they don't remember after the show,
Exactly.
what happened, or in Turkey political situation, and in the world now in Baltimore it's everywhere
Oh my God,
burning now in the US, and everywhere is the same. So I believe I believe, but our group also we share the same opinion that comedy is something like it has to include your political view, your perception of what happens in the world, and power and people, what happens between two spots, and the tension and relationships between people. We're trying to create a political comedy.
Uh-huh.
And our audience, I think, chooses us because of that, because we did many shows in different places, in open airs and streets, squares, or small stages or big stages. It depends, but we remember the Occupy Gezi movement.
Yes.
2 years ago, and
Mhm.
we did
Sure.
many shows in streets that period,
Mm-hmm.
and it makes us really feel good.
Right.
And we can say that yes, that's what we want to do. And here also the other stories, not the direct political sentences we did, but our stories include, and
Right. It's all sort of woven into the
yes.
fabric.
Yeah.
It's not so much like a banging over the head of a
Yes.
of a
Yes.
point. It's more of just
Uh-huh.
woven into it because it's part of your life. So
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
the best comedy
Actually,
is
our
part of your
tutor,
life.
mostly when I see other improv groups, they, sexual jokes are the easiest ones.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, a man and a woman on the stage and insulting each other and fighting, all the time. When we ask the audience if there's two person, one woman and man, when we ask a suggestion from them, they always tend to choose a suggestion that might create a fight or argue. So we try to break it
Right.
and let the story build itself. And it doesn't have to be, someone punches someone else in mentally or physically.
Right. That's fascinating. The idea of wanting to create this short form political musical is really interesting to me. Have you ever heard of the Capitol Steps?
No.
They're DC based, I believe. They I think you could get a lot from them because that's exactly what they do. They take any sort of political event and it's in the act the next week. I'm actually going to we're going to see them in May, and imagine anything that happens in May will make its way into it in the next
Cool.
couple of weeks. So I would say that they'd be worth checking out. I guess because I know there might be some last minute show preparations, but I really appreciate you talking to me. Because in regards to content or anything like that, do you ever, or is there ever any pressure or trouble when it comes to things that you can or can't say on stage when it comes to shows?
The religious things is a little bit feels dangerous in Turkey. But it doesn't matter if you're in France. Some guy can come and shoot you.
Of course.
Just like the Charlie Hebdo.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I guess what we want to say, we say everything. It doesn't have to disturb our political view is not to say bad words about any people or any community.
Sure.
We don't fight with anybody. If someone comes to the government that we love, or we will be again political and say opposite things to them.
Yes.
Because we are artists, and when we see something wrong, we have to make a joke about that.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
You just kind of have to.
It's
there. You have to.
So
say
in
it.
that religious things, and we don't prefer to make sexual jokes that insulting women or homosexuals or any ethnic people, Arab, Kurd, or blah blah black people, or whatever. We don't prefer that. We try to create an internationally funny stories.
Right.
I can say directly the religious things are.
That's sort of where
We really want to say something about that, but no, not here.
Right, exactly. There's that sort of like. There's that sort of like, oh well, but because you want to be able to keep doing the shows.
Yes.
In general.
Yeah. So we close that part.
Yeah.
So we do our business.
Exactly.
In New York, you definitely can get religious. We have a friend who's Dominican from the Dominican Republic.
Yes.
She dresses up in a abaya and does this fantastic act. It's hilarious about what you can and can't do as a woman. And you should look her up. She's very funny. But yeah, we can make fun of anything we want to.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, and the tone lately in with American comedy is sort of like how has sort of been like how do you approach certain topics so that you're not being disparaging, because that's much more of the conflict where I'm from now is what do you say, or how do you make jokes about certain things so that it's not just like a boxing match. It's sort of like a whoa, what now I'm thinking that sort of that kind of a thought.
But I can say
that's really
I can say I'm really jealous about European improvisers. They're really free.
Oh yeah.
You can see Jesus in many places, in many circumstances.
Exactly. Did you have a moment when you went to some of these other conferences where you saw something that was like, oh my gosh, I've never seen that before? Like, did you have like an aha moment when you went to one of those improv conferences? And I guess we can close on this.
I can say that they are. In 2004, it was the first improv festival that we joined in Berlin, and there were many countries, and we went there again in 2012, and in different performances. I can say that the wow points, one of them is making jokes and stories about religious things, that this bravery, and the very serious scenes, but funny stories that I say, wow. It was really, really serious, but it was improvisational, and wow. And yeah, we are doing now and Chekhovian improv.
Oh, Chekhov.
Yes, Chekhovian improv props and costumes, and I saw the one improv group in 2012 from Canada. They were awesome. The World State Theater, the name. They were really amazing, and all the improvisers from all over the world always makes me wow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. To
Anything
still have.
can happen. Yes.
Yeah, to still be able to continuously see new things and be inspired and just I still have work to do. That's really important to hang on to.
Yeah.
Well,
I really love to be on the stage with people that I don't know, that I just met the day before, and make crazy performances together on the stage. This is the wow thing of improv.
Exactly.
Being together and sharing and knowing each other on the stage and creating something awesome together.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
exactly. Well, thank you so much for talking to me. I really appreciate your time, and I'm looking forward to the show tonight. It'll be.
Yeah, I hope there will be.
It'll be something. Thank you so much, Koray. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, folks, that's the show. Thank you for listening. That's where I was as a person and as an interviewer before I officially started Between Awesome and Disaster. So I hope that was interesting for you guys. As always, you can check me out on Twitter at @ComicWillCarey or on my website, willcareyisfunny.com. Hit me up if you want me to come do a show in your town. I want to travel. I want to do shows. And in the few years since I have done that first interview with Koray, I've traveled extensively, and I want to see the world. I want to see your country, and I want to do shows in your country. So I may not know the language, but if I can figure it out, I will come and I will be there. So thank you guys very much for listening. Look forward to another episode this week. This is a special 2-episode week. As the show grows, I want to be able to put out more episodes more frequently. So keep an eye out for that, and I will see you guys next week Between Awesome and Disaster. Take care, everyone.